Martin Dobney, a columnist, says that members of the MGTOW community think that getting in trouble with the law or falling in love with a woman fails a cost-benefit and risk-benefit analysis. Jeremy Nicholson wrote about MGTOW in the same way for Psychology Today. He said that MGTOW is when men don't have enough reasons to date, so they decide not to date and instead focus on taking care of themselves. Kay Himowitz has said that some women who say they are MGTOW are unhappy because they think women are overly loyal and manipulative. Dylan Love, a reporter for Business Insider, wrote that a fully realized MGTOW is someone who avoids all relationships with women, whether they are short-term, long-term, romantic, or not. He eventually turns his back on everyone. MGTOW uses the word gynocentric to describe situations that help women more than they help men. They are against these kinds of situations. I found out about this less than an hour ago on Facebook. I've done some Googling and read a few articles, and it doesn't seem like anything I've ever done before. But on the other hand, I'm 62 years old and will have been married to the same woman for 34 years next April. But my experiences as a young man were very different from those of young men today. Even my own plans turned out to be different. I was always taught that when I grew up, I would leave home, find a job to support myself, meet the right woman, get married, and have children. I thought that was normal for guys all over the world. That was just the way things were. I found the official MGTOW.com website, but I haven't had a chance to look around yet. I've already said that I've read a few articles. The first is called "Why Are Men So Angry?" I should add that they might be mad at Himowitz because she wrote a book called "Manning Up: How the Rise of Women Has Made Men into Boys." Here are some of the things she says. About a week ago, the Wall Street Journal published an excerpt from my new book. It said that the new stage I call pre-adulthood, the 20s and early 30s, was not bringing out the best in single young men. Some men didn't like it. As in, cancel my subscription, the writer should get such a bad case of carpal tunnel syndrome. She Never Writes Again didn't like it. But a lot of the answers unintentionally proved my point, which is that men are very, very angry. Think about, we're not stuck in our teens. We choose to stay that way because there aren't any attractive American women. They were raised to hurt men. This fairly common answer showed up on the website of the Seattle Post-Intelligencer. Sorry, ladies. In this day and age of PlayStation 3, sports channels that are on all the time, and free adult content on the internet, you are now out of date. All of your complaining, whining, and stealing our hard-earned money has caught up with you. Yikes, has feminism. There have been so many waves that the feminism I knew in the 1970s has nothing to do with the feminism I know now, made women so smart and equal that men can't be in a relationship with them. Has this made young men avoid relationships with women who are equal to them, and instead turn to PlayStation 3s, 24-hour sports channels, and free internet adult content? Even though that answer might be good enough for a lot of women, Himowitz doesn't think it's the whole story. Women might want the same rights at the treadmill and the conference table, but when it comes to sex and dating, they're not so sure. But there's another, much less well-known reason for these rants. Let's call it bait and switch by gender. Men have never been paired with women who are so much like them in social, professional, and sexual ways. By the time they are in their 20s, they have been in school, on soccer fields, and even in bed with women who are just as good as them. They have a good reason to think that the women they meet in a bar, cafe, or gym want the same things they do: to be financially independent, to be successful in their careers, to have toned triceps, and to have sex. This is the hook, and here's the switch. Women might want the same rights at the treadmill and the conference table. But when it comes to sex and dating, they're not so sure. They might be as free to date as a Duke athlete, or they may want men to play men from the greatest generation. Yes, they want men to call and pay for dinner, says a writer for a popular dating site. The title of a recent article in the Frisbee was "Call Me and Ask Me Out on a Date," and open doors for them. A lot of men wonder, what the heck? Why should it be them to ask? Why should they buy dinner for them? After all, they are equal, and the woman a guy is asking out probably has more money than he does. In most big cities, women who just graduated from college make more than men. The problem might not be with the way men treat women as equals, but with the way women want to be treated as equals to men in all areas except dating. This may also have something to do with the idea of hypergamy or marrying up, a social science term for when a woman marries a man with a higher caste or social status than she does. This is a social expectation that has been around for a long time, and it's likely because men have been better off than women for most of the history of our species. But if society has progressed and women in Western culture are equal to or very close to being equal to men, why hasn't this expectation gone the way of the dodo bird? A piece by Jeremy Nicholson called "Why Are Men Frustrated with Dating?" shows the other side of Heimowitz's point of view. In general, many men say that dating in the modern world is mostly hard on them. Because of changes in social norms, there aren't many ways for them to be both acceptable as a romantic partner and appealing as a sex partner. Because of this, no matter what they choose, at least half of their needs won't be met. Men might get a relationship partner if they choose to follow social rules and act like good guys. But because of women's social and biological double bind, these men who do what they're told may not be attractive to the same people. As a result, their girlfriend or wife may lose interest in them sexually, cheat on them, or treat them badly because they are a pushover. These men may also be seen as just friends, which means they are expected to pay for all the costs of a relationship without getting any physical or intimate benefits. Nicholson doesn't think this is because men aren't mature enough. Instead, he thinks it's because of a change in social expectations that makes men less likely to date, especially in a society where social norms now heavily favor women. MGTOW used the word dinocentric to describe situations that favor women over men, and they are against these kinds of situations. Nicholson thinks that these kinds of men have 4 choices: getting more appealing, carefully teaming up, having high expectations, or turning down. I have twin sons who are 30 years old and a daughter who is 28. This is mostly about them. One of my sons was the only one to get married, have kids, and then get a divorce. The other 2 don't even go out with anyone. I thought it was strange that none of the 3 of them had found a partner of some kind by now, but maybe what I've been saying is part of the problem. I don't really know what to say about this. I'm writing to help me figure out what all this means. Maybe it will lead to more, like another short story about the dystopia, in the future. I write every week for the next chapter's Lyrical Fiction Friday. Every week, Marquesa posts a line from a song and asks anyone who wants to take part to use it as inspiration for a poem, short story, or other creative piece. This week's lyrics are, "There are some things I won't do. I never want you to be confused." I couldn't come up with a hook for a story based on that, so I looked up the whole song. It's called "I Don't Need a Man" and was released by the Pussycat Dolls in 2005. The title, and to be honest, some of the lyrics sound pretty bad, but when I looked up the meaning, I found that it's not directed at all men, just those who are so full of themselves that they think they're God's gift to every woman in the world. If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.